But soccer, 10% of Americans currently say it's their favorite sport when asked, surpassing baseball at 9%. You almost had it all, baby.
Wow, Roger, you're hitting me. You're hitting me right in the heart, right where it hurts, right off the bat. You're supposed to be a nice guest.
Here I am coming on your show and just like putting my feet up on your sofa.
All right, welcome back to The Deal. I'm Jason Kelly alongside Alex Rodriguez. So excited to have with us Roger Bennett. He is the founder and CEO of Men in Blazers Media Network. And I have to say, a voice that has been in my ears for many years. I fully confess, Raj, I have been to a couple Golden Blazers awards. I'm a huge fan. You've got a new book. It's called We Are the World Cup. It's a really, it is a love letter to the sport, which I know is how you've described it. And it really is such a great moment, especially for my partner, Alex, to hear from you what we are about to see in the United States again. Anyway, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. It's great to be with you guys.
All right. So I'm going to ask the question that I know is on Alex's mind and is on my mind as a fan of this game. Is it going to happen this time? Is this going to be the moment where the business of football takes root in this country?
Oh, it's already happened, is the honest truth. The Economist just came out with a study, and shut your ears for one moment, A-Rod, because football has just taken over from baseball as the country's third most popular sport. Obviously, the NFL, a giant, the NBA. Oh, it's so dominant in every single regard. But soccer, 10% of Americans currently say it's their favorite sport when asked, surpassing baseball at 9%. You almost had it all, baby.
Wow, Roger, you're hitting me. You're hitting me right in the heart, right where it hurts, right off the bat. You're supposed to be a nice guest.
Here I am coming on your show and just like putting my feet up on your sofa. Look, I mean, it's been a remarkable journey. It's not been easy. The World Cup, the Men's World Cup, was here in 1994, which is when I moved here. It was meant to make America a football-loving nation almost overnight. Instead, it's taken over 25 years, World Cup to World Cup, the cable television moving to streaming. Every streamer needed a niche sport that everyone would pay money for. They all found football was devoted, passionate. It was it. So suddenly Americans could follow along with football as close to Manchester United or Liverpool from Los Angeles or Minneapolis as if they lived in the same zip code as the stadia. The internet made us so close. I remember 1994, I'll tell you this. My team were in a game, Everton, a massive game. It was not on television in Chicago, 365 channels. None of them gave a crap in America. I had to phone my dad, and he held the phone against the radio in Liverpool, old school style. And now this whole world has changed. This young, incredibly Hispanic, but also, a Premier League, Champions League audience, the rise of women's football. Our women are kicking ass and taking names and are world champions. All of these things have come together to answer your question. We are a proper football-loving nation, and the World Cup will just put us over the top.
All right, so I hear what you're saying, and I believe you.
You're processing it for A-Rod's benefit here. Go on.
Having said that, and listen, we've had a lot of people on this show from the NWSL specifically. The women's game, to your point, Raj, has I think captured the imagination in a very powerful way. Major League Soccer has bumped along, and yet from a zeitgeist perspective, and I know businesses aren't measured in zeitgeist, but and I am very interested to hear the point that you're making on the numbers. What's the feel though? What is the devotion that translates into economics that needs to happen for it to go even higher? Maybe I'll put it that way.
God bless. I mean, I can say part of this, the story of my book, which is the rise of the World Cup as this incredible global platform that's visible from out of space. You know, it's a solar eclipse that strikes the entire planet for the entirety of the tournament simultaneously. But Americans love the best. And when it comes to the best football, the thing that is complicated, you know, A-Rod played in the best baseball league in the world. If you want to watch the best basketball league, it's right here, the NBA, the NFL. There is nothing that wildly compares. And the best football is played in England, in the Premier League. The Champions League, the European tournament. Americans have fallen in love with that thrill. We just released a study of American fandom in the United States for football. It is different to English fandom, where if you love the game, you go to every match. You know, you sit by the same people every week. The man who swears as soon as your team goes ahead 1-0. The woman who starts to suck on her knuckles when the team goes down 1-0. Same people. You don't know their names. You've been sitting by them for 25 years. Here in America, it is a solitary pursuit by and large. You watch 7 a.m. You watch 4 a.m. in the West Coast in your pajamas with a coffee that at some point becomes a beer. But we found out 27% of the American fans are going over to England once a year to watch their Premier League team, be it Chelsea, be it Liverpool, be it Manchester United. They are devoted. And the incredible thing, JJ Watt is a regular on our show. Let me use him as an example. So this is a man who came on our show the first time, stuffed himself into a Chelsea jersey, God bless him. It was great. He was interested. He's married to a footballer. He said all the great stuff. And then he called me up. He said, I'd like to come on again about 2 months later. And I was like, we kind of did our bits. I don't know what else I can ask him. And he goes, no, trust me. I mean, I've gone down this YouTube wormhole. Like, I know my stuff. And he came on, and it was incredible. His mind wrapped around what he'd studied was like a beautiful mind. And then a couple of months later, he texted me. He goes, I'm going to buy a Premier League team. I was like, don't do it. He goes, I've done it. He brought Burnley, this north of England, this dual, old, authentic club he brought into the ownership. You know, we go over to games. He is like beloved there. And I realized this. I mean, A-Rod, you've been to games. You've seen the number of American owners. I'm sure, to be candid, there's been a number of offers over the A-Rod deal flow desk saying, hey, buy into this ownership, buy into that ownership, come into this Premier League ownership, come into this Italian football ownership. The Premier League right now, of which JJ Watt is an owner, is majority owned by United States owners. That is mind-blowing. We own the game. Americans own the game. And for JJ Watt, I do believe this child of Wisconsin who grew up playing hockey and gridiron football, when he is as devoted to Premier League football as he is, and man knows his stuff, like he knows his scouting details at a great level, I realize we've made it. Like, this thing is so real. When we have JJ Watt, we have everybody.
Yeah, I mean, incredible. It reminds me of, a couple years ago, I went to London, and I went to my first game ever, Chelsea. And I've never seen anything like it, I got to tell you. It was awesome. And it reminded me of when we used to play the Red Sox, right? Like, but that's about it. Now, I'm here in Miami, and Miami is a city of champions and stars. And we have two of the biggest in David Beckham, and Messi, who just brought the title to Miami. So I see and I see all the bars that, early in the morning watching Premier Football here. I see what is done in Miami. How do you get that to all the other 49 states and all the other markets in America?
So number one, you went to Chelsea. You watched the game. I saw a photo. I remember you met Romelu Lukaku. You met our Lord and Savior, Christian Pulisic. God bless. And you said it was like the Red Sox and the Yankees. The Liverpool ownership is the Red Sox ownership. And one of the things that turned them onto football was that they looked at, the Liverpool deal flow came to them. Liverpool, when they brought it, was very close to bankruptcy. And they tell the story of how they looked at the deal flow. And they saw that when Liverpool played Manchester United, which was then the biggest rivalry game, over 600 million people around the world tune in for that game. And they said they turned around to their advisor and said, what? 600 million, which dwarfs the Super Bowl, 200 million. They're like, what? That's for a regular season game twice a year, guaranteed. And they were like, we're in. And they also like, by the way, that when you sell a Boston Red Sox hat, the Brewers owners getting some of that money. And they asked, when we sell a Liverpool jersey, how much do we keep? And they were told all of it. And they're like, oh, we're in. So there is that economic incentive. I mean, again, guys, look, 94, right before the World Cup here, Jack Kemp. I get my Jack Cooks and my Jack Kemps confused in America.
Yeah, don't confuse Jack Kent Cook with Jack Kemp, because those fighting words down in Washington. Go on.
Jackie K. He felt so offended. A LA Rams former quarterback turned congressman. He took to the floor of Congress and he said, "We need to tell young Americans, that football is where you rush with it and throw it and catch it, and not where you kick it." And he said, one is American capitalism and the other is European socialism. He said it with disgust. Like, when I moved here, Americans hated football, A-Rod. Really, they didn't just not like it. They actively hated it. I think there was a study done before the 94 World Cup. I write about it in my book.
Wow.
And they were asked their most popular sports. Soccer came 70th, I think. Tractor pulling came 69th. And so we were nowhere. And the honest answer to your question is, it has changed. It is in all of those states. It's just young. The audience is so young. Our audience is 18 to 24. They've grown up playing FIFA, EA Sports FIFA, it used to be called, EAFC, in dorm room after dorm room. They've fallen in love with the minutiae, the players, the playing styles, the Star Wars cantina of European football. The streamers have connected them to actually watching the game live. The internet has connected them to trades, transfers, injuries, as close to the teams as if they live there. The audience is already there. The numbers are unbelievable. The Premier League is the NBC are driving is such a valuable property commercially. Liga MX, the numbers for the Mexican league in this nation are one of the startlingly underreported ratings in sports television. So the honest truth was, 94, I agree with you for your question. Soccer here was like Space to Captain Kirk, A-Rod. It was the final frontier, but Americans own the teams. Young Americans are watching the game. The level of knowledge, passion, authenticity, it is here already. And our network, the Men in Blazers Media Network, which is covering the thing 24/7, from a media perspective, is really just a symbol of the fact that the United States really is a proper footballing nation in the way it is in the rest of the world.
So, Roger, if you were an investment banker, and for our audience, I think would be very interested in this answer you have, how would you pitch me if Chelsea or Liverpool was in the market? Why would we want to be investors, Jason and I, into these two teams?
Good Lord. I mean, you'd probably want to become a Chelsea owner because you'd be taking something off the Dodgers owner, which would probably really please you. You'd be ripping a bauble out of Todd Burley's hands. And that would be my simple pitch, knowing what I know about you.
I like Todd Burley. I like him. He's my partner already. I love Todd.
There you go. Then that's simple. Liverpool, God bless, Tom Werner, John Henry have done an unbelievable job. I mean, really, from an American perspective, American owners either come in and destroy wherever they've brought over there because they don't know what they don't know. Ultimately, the American POV is pretty fascinating. And there is a flood of American owners coming over, not just in the Premier League, A-Rod, but, American owners are everywhere. Equity investors. I mean, as we're speaking, Ryan Reynolds and Rob Max Wrexham are playing football and winning. They've taken them from the equivalent of single A baseball. They're taking them all the way because there's promotion and relegation, and you can move up. The Pawtucket Red Sox can get all the way up into the major leagues, and so they're doing a remarkable. I mean, it's really an unprecedented kind of almost, I don't like to be hyperbolic, but it's like watching the Odyssey lived out, written by Homer in real time, what they're doing over there at Wrexham. And I think the American mentality, the American sense, and this is not 100% true from an English perspective, but the Americans look at these, our sports are franchises, they're entertainment. I mean, you know this because you own over here. They're really entertainment platforms. Is when you're in your meetings, you're thinking about these things being entertainment platforms. In England, football is working class. Its roots are deep. They're authentic teams in the city. And I think the American investor looks at them as really undeveloped assets, even the big teams. The biggest tension, to tell you more than you want to know, in elite football is between the hyper-local and the hyper-global. In the, taking Liverpool, who have... it's impossible to separate the city of Liverpool from the football club Liverpool. The two are indivisible. It's a major part of the club's identity. That identity is working class. That they travel to the games home and away. It defines everything. And at the same time, there's huge untapped markets all over the world, and projecting the club as a brand to those markets and commercializing it. That's what the American investment bankers looking at. And the only thing they need to do is that dance to not piss off the locals who love the club and feel, you speak to the sophisticated American owners, they learn very quickly. They'll all say, we're just stewards, we're not really owners. Doing that dance is the dance that I think the investment bankers will be advising you on.
Roger, as you're talking, and Jace, you'll relate with this, is that it reminded me what George Steinbrenner did in 1973 when he bought from CBS, and sitting right in the Bronx. And it was a franchise that wasn't doing well. And then you see Tom Ricketts years later do that with the Cubs in the middle of a neighborhood where the biggest star is not only the brand of the Cubs, but is the stadium in which they play in, Wrigley Field. And then, of course, a very similar story. No one's done it better than John Henry, Tom Werner, Sam Kennedy. Fenway Park, it is an American monument. And what they've done there, unfortunately, to my pleasure, they have 4 championships and took a couple away from us in New York. So I totally get it when you put those two comparisons.
So most of the bankers will say, and I have to say, I understand the English perspective, that they find it furious, and the American owners, they look at the tickets, they're like, oh my God, these tickets are nothing. You sit at MSG, you expect to pay 15, 20K to be courtside. How are these English football tickets 100? They raise the tickets a couple of pounds in England, and there's a riot. Really.
Yeah.
And so navigating the authentic, the working class roots of football, but that's ultimately why the American investors are all in there. They look at even the biggest clubs are like, my Lord, there are so many revenue streams. If you look at them as what they are, which is authentic, traditional football clubs that represent the city, that's kind of where they are. The American looks at them just as like, oh my God, entertainment platform, 24/7 piping commercial brand property, and also sellable streams direct into the heart of a global fan base. The American owners are trying to also by the way, are in an arms race, so they kind of have to at this point. They're all competing with each other against nation states also. Qatar, Abu Dhabi, Saudi Arabia, they all have their teams. That's the kind of dance, the pull, the push of modern football.
And so Raj, this takes us to a really interesting place. I've been fortunate enough to go to some English Premier League games. I have very passionate supporters in my life, especially of Chelsea and Fulham and Arsenal and Man U and Everton and others. And I feel their passion for those clubs. Those clubs are not in the United States. And so what I hear you saying is, in the same way that the Yankees, just to, really play to our audience of one here, have transcended globally, and you can go anywhere in the world and see a Yankee hat or a Yankee jersey, maybe with a 13 on the back. But you can similarly see a Chelsea kit, an Arsenal kit, many different jerseys.
Correct.
Of European clubs. Do you think there's a moment where LAFC, NYCFC, some of the other clubs here that, especially in the MLS, will break through in a way that, to go way back to something earlier, Alex said earlier, that Inter Miami has done that? Are there? Is that possible for other MLS squads?
So it's a great question. I remember having an argument with someone, one of the broadcasters, about 15 years ago, where he was like, what do you think the American kid's going to wear? Are they going to wear like a Chelsea jersey or a Bayern Munich jersey, or if they live in Houston, or are they going to wear a Houston Dynamo jersey? And I said, of course they're going to wear, a Chelsea jersey. Americans love the best. We win.
Yes,
we win things,
right.
And they're winners. But he's like, no, wrong. They're going to wear their local jersey. They're going to wear. And I was like, I didn't know what to say to this person other than like, this is ridiculous. Americans love the best. And what's happened? MLS is growing. Remember, MLS has given the European leagues like 140, 150 year head start. It is remarkable how MLS is growing in a 30-year sprint. So what's fascinating? Number one, you're right, and I do need for your listenership to just reinforce how massive these global brands are. And again, the only statistic I can think of is, the Super Bowl is our everything in the United States, and it's like 200 million people watch it. The World Cup final, 1.5 billion people tune in for that bad boy. Like the levels to this game, the levels to the Chelsea logo, the levels to the Barcelona, the Real Madrid logo, the Arsenal. It is a global brand. I mean, Joel Embiid loves to play basketball. Joel Embiid comes on our show. He would much rather talk about Arsenal and Real Madrid. That's his, and he's not alone. They are massive, enormous, global giants. And what's been fascinating to me to watch, and you mentioned him, A-Rod, earlier, Sir David Beckham, as I feel legally bound to call him, and Lionel Messi, who, I mean, is a demigod at this point, a demigod. He wears jorts, so we all wear jorts. What they've done for Inter Miami is unbelievable. When I am back in England, number one, when I fly back from the United States on a Thursday or a Friday, that plane will be full of Americans going to Premier League games wearing their football jerseys. But now what is fascinating is because of the looks. I think it is Beckham plus Messi plus your city, A-Rod, Miami. Like there's an exotic nature to that city. I mean, it's just a aspirational brand globally, and the beautiful brand work they've done, to be candid, the distinctive pink jersey, the branding they've done that's really captured it. You will now see in England, you will see kids playing in Inter Miami. I've never seen it before, but you'll see Inter Miami jerseys on a field with kids wearing Paris Saint-Germain, Manchester City, Barcelona, the work. So it's the first time I've ever seen it, and I hope it's like a glimpse of the future.
Well, and to that point, what you said holds true there, which is Americans love the best. Messi's the best. Like, and that's it. Like, case closed. That's why they're wearing the jersey, right?
Yeah, I mean, he is the best by some levels. What he can do, it's like watching a little Ewok capable of doing like just transcendent athleticism. I mean, and I think everybody at this point, it capped off with his World Cup win after 4 failures. I mean, A-Rod, you know that winning, tenacity, failure, or that link of that hero's journey, where he capped it off by winning the World Cup, a game where when you lose a World Cup final, I mean, I write about this in the book, half the players on the field become irrelevant. And then half the players on the field become utterly immortal in their nation's history, woven in forever. And that's what he became in that moment. In Miami, you have a demigod walking amongst men, and it's really incredible to see America embrace him in the way the rest of the world does.
And there's a lot of Messi that feels like Bird, like he was a magician. You don't know how he did it, but he was just like the best. But I will say this, and I'll share the story, a real quick one. I was down in Italy, and I got the gravity of football when I was down in South Italy, and the taxi driver says to me, I said, how big is Maradona? Because we just passed the stadium in which he won the championship, right? An old stadium.
Naples. Yeah.
Yeah, in Naples. And he says, you got to understand, sir. He had no idea who I was, of course. He says, there's Maradona, there's God, and then there's my family. I go, holy smokes.
And he was underselling you. You. I mean, by the way, Maradona destroyed the English team I supported as a kid. I'm as American as Kenny Powers now. I love America. But back when I was a kid and I watched England, Maradona destroyed my English team in 1982. He punched the ball into the net.
Yeah.
It was the most, for me as a sports fan, it was the most searing emotion of my life. The anger, the injustice, he then, minutes later, destroyed the whole team, ran through 10 men, finished the most transcendent goal I'd ever seen. And I now have on my wall opposite my broadcast space, I have a signed image that Maradona signed himself of that moment of him punching the ball in, mostly because with age, I've realized that searing memory, you treasure that searing memory as much as a joyous one because of its profundity. And that's what I'll finish by saying, it's what the World Cup gives us, these memories that are all the more profound because the whole world is experiencing them alongside you, making collective cross-generational memories that you will carry forever. And that's the greatest gift of sport. It's the greatest gift of Maradona. Anyone who watched you at the plate in key moments deliver with the crucible of pressure on your shoulders knows that you did it. We just watched it, but it is the memory making, which is ultimately the power of the sport. And there's nothing more powerful than the World Cup.
Well, Roger, it has been, Raj, I feel like I can call you. It has been such a pleasure. I'm a big fan, and I have a lot of people in my life who are also very devoted listeners, and we're very excited for me to get to have this conversation. I'm going to hold up the book for those watching on video. We Are the World Cup. It is a fantastic read. I came to understand a lot more about the game, a lot more about you. It's a deeply, deeply personal book. So congratulations on that. I can't wait to listen to all of your coverage of the World Cup and just keep up the great work. We didn't get a chance to talk about the business of Men in Blazers, which is an incredible feat in and of itself.
It's an incredible time to be covering football in this nation. It is. It's as if we're like the Mel Kiper and Peter Gammons of what they were when I moved to America, but we're doing it for football, and it's just the greatest story of my life to be able to do it. And I wish I was A-Rod's investment banker who's going to get a call 5 minutes after we get off air. Go, find me a Premier League team.
Yeah,
get me in
exactly.
there.
And send Roger Bennett a finder's fee. Anyway.
That's right.
All right. Really good to be with you.
Big love,
Thank
guys.
you, Raj.
Thank you, courage.
Thanks,
Take
Roger.
care.